Hi, and welcome to Answers for Elders. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to be talking this morning to Kelly Shanahan from Global View Capital Advisors. She's the executive director there, and we're going to be talking this morning about Social Security. Hi, Kelly, and welcome, and thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having me, Barbara.
So let's talk about Social Security. Great topic. So many people don't understand how it works, how to access it. So tell me a little bit about Social Security. Where did it all begin?
Well, Social Security was enacted in 1935 by President Roosevelt, and people started getting benefits in 1940. So it's been a long-term program, and it was designed to give people lifetime benefits that not only will last their lifetime, but will adjust for cost of living increases.
Mm-hmm. Now, does someone automatically get Social Security at retirement age, or do they have to apply for it? How does that work?
Well, firstly, you have to qualify, but not always. That's why it's a complex issue. To qualify for Social Security, you need 40 credits, which is 10 years of a credit for each quarter. And right now, it's around approximately $1,100 per quarter that you have to earn to qualify. So it's 40 credits, 10 years times 4, but that is not an indication of how much you'll receive. If that's all the credits you have, that will be reflected in the income that you're entitled to. But when all is said and done after your whole work career, Social Security usually figures out the income benefit you'll receive based on the best 35 years of your employment.
Okay, so your highest income earning.
Yes.
Of that 35-year career.
As long as you've been putting into Social Security. Public employees oftentimes have a public pension, so then they're not entitled to Social Security or at a diminished amount. And you can figure that all out with someone like me, or you can go on to the Social Security Administration's website at ssa.gov.
So that would be teachers, public employees, civil servants.
Exactly, firemen, police officers, things like that.
Okay,
yep.
Okay. And so how do people qualify for Social Security? How does that work?
Well, again,
the quarters.
Right, the 40
right.
quarters. You can't get Social Security, though, until you're 62. Every person from 62 to 70 has 9 different choices about when they can take Social Security. And starting at 62, it's one amount. What you want to look at, there's 2 terms, and you need to know these terms when you go to ssa.gov. PIA is your primary insurance amount at FRA, full retirement age. You can log in and create an account, and you can get a statement, because they don't send statements out every year like they used to. But you can log in, create an account, qualify your identity. They're going to ask you random questions from your credit report. And once you get in, create an account, it's going to give you that information on your statement. What is your PIA, primary insurance amount, at FRA, full retirement age? Currently, somebody who turns 60 this year, their full retirement age is 66. So they give you that PIA, primary insurance amount. Now that's at age 66. If you choose to take Social Security at 62, that PIA is going to be diminished or lessened by 25%.
So if it's diminished by 25% at 62, once you turn full retirement age, does it increase or does it stay?
Well, if you choose to take your benefits at age 66, that'll be the amount that you get for the rest of your life with cost of living adjustments. However, you don't have to take them. It will accrue with credits until age 70. So from 62 to 66, every year that you don't take it from 62 to 66, and this is a really important consideration, it's guaranteed to grow just under 7%. From full retirement age to 70, it's guaranteed to grow just under 8%. So you really have to consider this, if it's worth the wait till 70, but what other retirement asset is guaranteed to grow at those kind of rates?
I see.
So, because a lot of people say, oh, it's not worth the time, break-even analysis is 10 years, but if you are going to compare using a retirement asset that's active in the market versus Social Security, this is guaranteed to grow at that rate where there aren't market guarantees.
So you're basically rewarded for taking it at 66 or 70.
Yes.
In other words, the government says, well, your full retirement age is 66 right now, but if you wait till 70, you'll get even a little more at 70.
Right. And in any case, if you're going to wait till 67, 68, at full retirement, you should file with Social Security and at least say, hey, hit full retirement age, I'm here, but I'm not going to take it.
Oh, okay.
That's very important. There's a little caveat in the rules that if you file and it's called file and suspend, but you're not going to take it. So, you know, you're 66, you go to Social Security, hey, I hit that age, but I'm not going to take it. Say a couple years down the road, some emergency, a health emergency arises, now you can go back to Social Security and say, I really need the money. They'll give you a lump sum up through that point.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, for not taking it.
Right, but you could, and it'll be at that full retirement age amount, but you could get a lump sum. You know, something happens, you have a death, you know, an emergency in your family, some kind of health emergency, but that money's there for you.
Okay. So we just sort of talked about when are we eligible to receive Social Security. There are other people that are also eligible to receive Social Security that are younger that have disability, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So if you're disabled,
yes, you can receive Social Security disability benefits.
Okay.
But also there's spousal benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really important issue, I think, for women who precede us.
Right.
For example, because their earning power has been compromised in a couple of ways. Firstly, they probably haven't had the longevity in the workforce as the men in their lives or their spouses, because they probably stayed home and take care of their children.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, they haven't had the earning power in terms of how much they make per hour.
right.
So there are spousal benefits. I just helped a gal, she didn't qualify for Social Security with her own credits, but what she could do, but her husband qualified, and so she was able to get spousal benefits.
Along with, so he's collecting and she's collecting off of his benefit.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yes, and spousal benefits are always 50% of your spouse's or ex-spouse's PIA, primary insurance amount, at FRA, full
Okay.
retirement age.
Okay, very good. Now, is it correct to say that on the death benefit of a spouse, you would have had to have been married to that spouse for 10 or more years
Yes.
to receive the death benefit?
Yes, and they
Survivor's
call those
benefits.
survivor
Right.
benefits.
Okay.
Yes, and you can get those starting at 62.
Okay.
But it's interesting, and this is where spouses really need to be thoughtful about this decision. I've worked with people who go different ways. You know, they took their benefits at full retirement age and they're going forward with that. But some men were thinking, well, you know, my wife, her benefit isn't that much. Half of my benefit isn't going to suit her, but I'm going to wait till 70, because if a husband waits till 70 to take their full benefits, he passes away, then their spouse is eligible for 100%
Of his benefit.
Right, and that's the big difference between spousal is only 50%
Right.
of full retirement age benefit, whereas survivor benefits are 100% of whatever benefit their spouse or ex-spouse was receiving.
Right. And so also on that particular piece, if the surviving spouse, their Social Security benefit is significantly less
Yes.
than the spouse who passed,
Yes.
they could collect the full benefit of the spouse and
Yes.
and waive their benefit, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Very important consideration.
Because I get that question often, you know, do I get my benefit and my husband's benefit? No, they're waiving their benefit and getting the husband's benefit.
Correct. And another misunderstanding I want to be sure that we all are on the same page on is that when you collect perhaps off your spouse's or ex-spouse's Social Security income benefit, you're not taking away from their benefit.
Right.
Some people say, oh, if I take that, I'm going to take away. That's not it at
Right,
all.
right. And same thing for children. There is a benefit for children under Social Security when a parent is either disabled or has passed.
Right.
Right? There's
Yes.
there's a Social Security.
And past full retirement age as
Right.
well. And yes, I'm not as well versed on that for disability, but that runs, I believe, up through age 18.
It does.
Yeah.
It used to, years ago, it used to run to 21 or 22 years old if you were still in college. They no longer do that.
Right.
It's only till they're 18. But if the spouse dies or the mother dies and they were on Social Security either because they were of retirement age or because they were disabled, the child does receive a benefit every month. And if the parent is living and on disability, the point I'm trying to get to is that the child benefit does not take away from the disabled person's benefit.
Exactly.
They're not diminishing their benefit. So if the disabled person is receiving $1,500 a month and the child is receiving $1,000 a month, that $1,000 would not go to the disabled person.
Right.
They get their $1,500 and the child gets the $1,000.
Right.
But it's important for people to understand that because the child needs to be supported also when the parent becomes disabled.
Right, and that kind of, for me now, that leads me into income. And what happens if I'm earning money when I'm on Social Security? Because it's very complicated for disabled people. And really, you have to give it some serious consideration and really look at all the facts because the math is complicated and it's different than it is for just a retired person on Social Security. I've worked with several people that came to me and said, oh, I just thought I'm going to work and get Social Security. And that's not really the wisest idea.
Right.
Because from age 62 to full retirement age, 65, 66, or 67, the tax is quite heavy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The threshold is very low. So if you make anything over, this year I believe it's $15,420. So if you make up to that amount, you're good. But anything over that, for every $2 you earn over that, they're going to take away $1 of your benefits.
Wow.
So that's like a 50% tax.
Right.
Now it changes the year you turn full retirement age. So for example, somebody who turns 60 this year, when they hit 66, so from 62 to 66, it's that $15,420. But when they hit 66, then the year they hit full retirement age, not the month, but the year they hit full retirement age, that threshold increases significantly to $42,000 and $42,120 or something like that.
So they can make $42,000 on top of what they're receiving for Social Security at full retirement age.
Well, but there's still going to be a tax, but
on
it's
that
less.
$42,000.
Yes, so for every $3 you make over that $42,000, they're going to take away $1 of your benefits.
But over the $42,000.
Exactly.
So you can make $42,000 on top of your Social Security benefit.
And that's just the year you turn full retirement age.
Right.
But then we get to the magic, what they call the magic of FRA, full retirement age. All those penalties and thresholds no longer apply. You can make as much money and earn and have your Social Security, and there's no penalties.
But you would get taxed on that extra income.
Well, like anything, you're going to be taxed on your income, whether it comes from...
But it wouldn't be 50%.
Exactly. They're not going to take away your benefits now. Once you reach full retirement age, they no longer will take away benefits because of your earnings.
Okay. And then are you still paying into the Social Security system while you're working?
Oh, absolutely.
So you are?
Right.
Okay.
You know, Social Security, Medicare, all those, you know, I'm working with a fella now, 71 years old, still working, still adding to Social Security, and he is on Social Security.
Right, and contributing.
Exactly.
Which is great. That's actually great.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the piece around, well, maybe I don't. I'm sorry. So we talked about survivors benefits and the best time and what age you should apply for benefits, right?
Right. Well, I want to say that it's an individual decision, and every person has a different situation. What suits one person is not going to suit another person. There's so many considerations. If you don't have a lot of longevity in your family, I don't know that waiting till 70 to take benefits is a wise decision.
Right.
You know, and in couple, you know, so for every individual that qualifies for Social Security, you have 9 different choices.
Right.
If you've been married and or divorced, I think it's 81 choices with all the different combinations you can do, because you can file and suspend and then take spousal benefits. One strategy that's really misunderstood, and I misunderstood this when I first was learning about Social Security, if you take spousal benefits from 62 to full retirement age, that counts against your record. It's like taking your own benefits.
Wow.
And therefore, you're not accumulating credits on your own record.
Okay.
Very important consideration. If this is called, it's a strategy called file and suspend. So, say a working couple, one spouse gets to full retirement age, files and suspends, and then applies for spousal benefits, which is 50% of their spouse's PIA, primary insurance amount, at full retirement age. Then that allows their record to grow and accumulate credits. And remember, that's at a just under 8% rate each year.
That allows the person who's collecting to grow because they're collecting from the spouse.
Right. But they've waited till full retirement age to do that strategy, which is really important. I'm not saying if you take spousal benefits before your full retirement age, it's okay. Maybe you have to. Maybe 50% of your spouse or ex-spouse's benefits are still greater than your own. So in that case, it's a wise choice.
Right.
If you don't have any alternatives.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. For each individual, it's going to be a different decision.
So that's the question I wanted to ask earlier. So the credits, you had mentioned earlier that they base your Social Security when you go to collect on your best earning years.
Yes.
So if you say are making a six-figure income in your best years,
Right.
and then in your later years you are making 70,000.
Right.
Still, they're going to look at those
Yes.
best years, and that is
Yes.
what you're going to collect off of.
Right. It's your best 35 years or less, because you only need 10 years, 4 credits each year to qualify. So they're going to look at your
Best
best.
10 years.
Right. Your best earning power, your best
Okay.
35 years
Okay.
overall.
And so for the small business owner who's paying taxes, how do you may or may not know this might take a tax accountant, but do they continue to pay into the Social Security system? And how do they do that?
Well, they should. I've heard this. I'm not totally informed on this issue because, yes, you need to talk to your accountant. But what you shouldn't do is minimize your income so then you're not contributing much to Social Security. Because I've met folks just in the past few months that they had their own business, and that's what their accountant did. They worked hard to minimize their net income so they're not paying very many taxes, which, when you're running a business and you're building a business, yes, that's important.
Right.
But the long-term effect of that is...
What are you going to collect at retirement age?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So talk to your tax accountants and make sure if you're in small
Right.
business that they're contributing as much as they should be contributing to Social
Right.
Security.
This is, it's not just a numbers game.
Right.
And that's, that, and then also giving strong consideration to when you want to take benefits. Because if you're just looking at payback analysis, it makes sense to take it as soon as possible.
Right.
But you have to seriously consider what other retirement asset is going to accrue or compound or grow at a
Right.
guaranteed rate.
Right.
And what other retirement asset has cost of living adjustments?
That's right, every year.
I don't know of one.
Right.
And that's why this has more value than just a numbers game.
And so important to also be looking at what are the rest of your assets. How are you going to survive?
Yes.
Does it make sense? Can you survive on the spousal benefit or your own benefit if you're deciding to take it at 62?
Right.
What do you have to survive? What other
Right.
assets do you have to survive?
Well, and the other real serious consideration that I think both of us are aware of are healthcare costs.
Right.
They just keep rising. I believe you should allot at least $3,000 a year to cover Medicare, Medigap, all the, to cover your
Medicare
healthcare
Part
costs.
D, your
Exactly.
pharmacy costs. I have clients who I have heard, particularly clients that are on disability, that they've tapped their medication benefit halfway through the year. Most of these people are on these fixed income, Social Security, disability, fixed income, and Medicare. They're under the age of 65, but they're on Medicare because they're disabled. And the way the healthcare system is now working, they've used up their medication benefit at no fault of their own because these medications are required every day for the rest of their lives, but at the end of 6 months they have no benefit.
Right.
So very important to figure out how to put money aside for
Right.
these costs are only going to increase
Right,
as
because
time goes on.
at 65, Medicare, I think it's Part A is free,
Right.
but Medicare Part B is not
Is
free,
not.
nor is D,
D.
or the Medigap insurance or the pharmacy coverage.
Which is Medicare D,
Right.
the pharmacy coverage,
Sure,
right.
and anything to augment those programs
Right.
is not free, and people need to be aware of that.
Yeah, and particularly folks from our generation, the new boomers coming up, paying attention to, it is not a system that it used to be. And so paying attention to talking to people like Kelly Shanahan, who knows how to help you structure your assets so that you have the funds to pay for these things in retirement, because they are all going to be costs.
Right,
at
there's
retirement
all
age.
kinds of variables that you have to consider as you look towards this time in your life.
Right.
And it's workable, but it's a different plan for every individual.
Right. So, and how do we apply for the benefits? How do we go about applying for the benefits?
Well, sometimes you can get lucky and go to a regional office, and you can walk right in if they're not busy and apply, or even get a statement, because they say, oh, it's easy, apply online to get a statement, but it's not as easy as that. You can go to ssa.gov and get a statement online, but you're going to have to verify your identity. Well, you're going to have to say, hi, I'm so-and-so, this is my Social Security number. That's through the first gate. To get through the second gate, to create an account, they're going to ask you random questions from your credit report. This can be easy or difficult. I've worked with clients, we've tried a couple times through both gates. One client, we tried it a couple times. They had her birth date wrong.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
Right,
yeah.
so she had to go to a regional office, and you have to call the national 800 number to make an appointment at a regional office. You can't just call your regional office ordinarily.
Right.
Unless, some aren't that busy, but Boston, Quincy, they're pretty
all
busy,
very
so you
busy,
really
yeah.
can't get in there.
Right.
So, and this gal in particular, she had to take her birth certificate and prove her birth date, so they changed it so she can go through this process. That second gate of them giving you random credit questions, I was working with one gal and they said, oh, what year did you get your American Express?
Right.
She did.
Wow.
So, but I've worked with some people, we knew all the answers to the questions. My best advice is, if it looks familiar, that's probably the answer.
Right.
And then once you get in, you can get that Social Security statement.
Right.
So,
and I'm sure they're doing this to protect people.
Right,
They're protecting people.
Absolutely.
But it does sound complicated. It does sound like there could be some information on there from your credit report that could be confusing to try to get through those gates.
Right, because you don't remember. I remember this was for something different, but same process, using a credit report to verify your identity. They asked me, oh, what year was that Ford Taurus?
Right.
I don't remember.
Right.
My children were 3 feet tall then.
Right.
They're 22 now.
Right. And what happens to our memories at that age, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you need to go into, ordinarily you need to go into Social Security office and file. To get your benefits.
Right.
I was working with a gal who was nearly totally disabled. We called Social Security initially. This was the woman I referred to who is now receiving spousal benefits, although she did not qualify. So we started with an initial phone call, and they said, absolutely, you did qualify. So then we set another appointment with another person from Social Security, just with a different job, who could get the benefits going so she could file for the benefits. So that took that was about 3 weeks. In 3 weeks we made the appointment over the phone again. We met with this gal, and so we did all the processing. We had some paperwork to do that they said we need this, this, and that. Had her husband take those into the regional office, and that was really kind of a unique case, because not only was she eligible for spousal benefits, they gave her a lump sum check, because I worked with her in July. They gave her a check back to March when she turned 66, her full retirement age.
Very good.
Yeah,
So people don't even realize that they are eligible for things that they may be able to get retroactive pay for, which is a good thing to know.
Yeah.
So key here, if you're divorced, you've been with someone 10 years, you can apply.
Yeah.
Spouse has died, spouse is still alive, your benefits are not as healthy as his are,
Right.
You can apply for his benefits.
Yes, and vice versa too.
Yeah, or hers.
We don't want to be
His or
gender
hers.
biased,
That's
but
right.
we're
My
just kind
apologies.
of
Yep.
going forward
His
from
or
here.
hers
Right.
benefits. That's correct.
Right.
And very important to understand that there are so many choices in how you can apply. So great to talk to someone like you or myself.
Yeah. It's
Kelly's an expert in Social Security benefits.
Right.
Great to talk to someone like Kelly
Yeah.
regarding this.
Well, and I just want to say, because I've had experiences myself and people I've been working with, Social Security is not, they're not there to give you the correct information. They're not going to tell you what you need to know or ask you the right question. You need to be armed with information so you can ask the right question, know the strategy that benefits your particular case.
Right.
Because they're not going to say, oh, this might work better for you.
Right.
They're not going to do that. So
Right.
I've gotten incorrect information. I know several people who've gotten incorrect information. So
Right.
you really need to talk to a specialist to know what's right for you and
Very
your family.
important to pre-plan. We talk a lot about
Yes.
that here at Answers for Elders. You know, we are the local experts in anything senior, and it's why we bring people like you to the show, Kelly, to help people understand that there are experts out there, specialists that can help you navigate this whole part of the system.
Right.
And so important to pre-plan and be thinking about these things before a crisis occurs, before, you know, you're at that place and you're like, now what do I do?
Right.
So very
reactive
important.
versus proactive.
Proactive.
And I give free consults. It's such an important issue, especially for all the elders that precede you and I.
Right.
It's really important for them to know their choices.
Right. Well, Kelly, thank you for coming today.
You're welcome.
Great information, really
you.
informative. Kelly Shanahan of Global View Capital Advisors. She's the executive director there. Great person to contact. She's out of Hull at 781
771 3312.
781 771
3312.
3312. Great expert to contact. Thank you for joining us at Answers for Elders today. Everything Senior. We're here to help you. We're your local experts. Thanks again.